champions will brave the sea of monsters.
We're going in there to save Grover.
The Great Awakening has begun. Kronos is returning.
Hello again, little hero.
He still has hope that he can, sway them to his side, and he wants to free us all. He wants to free them all, and we see it in episode 3 a bit as well. Like, and talking about monsters, like Luke is he's fighting for the people. He's fighting for like equality, and like he sees all living beings that are essentially pawns to the gods that were, it's like demigods versus monsters, but who set that system up?
Exactly.
Who set that system up, the gods. So he's trying to fight for freedom for everyone.
In any way that you would assume it would. I mean, thinking about it as well, considering that Clarisse is not, she's still a young girl. So hearing this type of thing in such an intense way, it's not just a little passive aggressive, sly comment that you'd get like in normal life. It's like, you let me down. Are you gonna do it again? I don't have faith in you, but you're the best one of my kids. Like, imagine hearing that and like looking up in your dad's face and him meaning it. Oh my God. Edge Adam is one of the most amazing, phenomenal people to work with. And I remember when we were shooting that scene by Thalia's tree on the day, it just like absolutely broke me. He was so in it, and just hearing that type of speech from him like definitely ignited Clarisse's nervous system within me. So it's something. The journey that she goes on this season is just absolutely beautiful and heartbreaking, and also too triumphant. I'm very, very glad that a story like this is being told and you get to see a happy ending with it, because I feel like a lot of the times this trope of story is geared in towards like adult media, and then you rarely ever see a happy ending come out of it where the kid's not totally messed up. You know what I'm saying? And if I were to have seen a character like Clarisse when I was younger and see that, you can make a change and that it is okay to ask for help and that you can trust yourself and have things turn out okay by making decisions based on your own, authority, I think it would have shaped my brain it would put me in a very strong position. So I'm very excited for young girls to see this.
Well, I think, the truth is when Kronos was in power, that was genuinely called the Golden Age, and it was a time of peace and prosperity, and everyone was kind of living in harmony, and, I gotta freshen up, but I don't like there was no war or disease. Like, it was just like, it was a good time. And I think at this point in the story, Kronos, nothing, like, the gods have done nothing for Luke, specifically his father. Like, from the moment he was born, his mom tried to become the Oracle, went south. She sort of was driven mad, and then right after that, Hermes took off, basically never to be seen again. And so he left Luke alone with this unstable mother. And then Luke, he just couldn't take it, so he ran away from home, and from the time he was like 9 years old was essentially fending for himself. And then he meets Thalia, and then Thalia is taken from him and turned into a tree by her father. And on top of that, her power, her energy is protecting camp, which is the very thing that they, I think, bonded over, and like that they agreed that they just didn't want to be a part of that world. I'm losing my train of thought, but
but also it's like about, that's the nature of Kronos, isn't it? Like,
but yeah, no, that's exactly it. Like, I think Kronos,
and like tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly. Kronos, I think found Luke in a very sort of lost time in his life, and hopeless, vulnerable time in his life, and Kronos offered him, he came to him and was like, I think he offered him belonging, a home and glory, you know, and
Glory, glory, glory.
and that was very attractive to Luke. And I think Kronos has made Luke all these promises. And I mean, look, and he's come through it. Like, Luke has his own cruise ship, and he's got these nice clothes, and
He's
you know,
living the
he's
life.
living the life. So I think at this point in the story, like, things are looking good so far, you know.
I mean, Tyson, he is a monster. You know, monsters aren't allowed in camp. You see that it's like demigods are trained to kill monsters, and monsters catch the scent of demigods and come after them, right? And what Luke is saying is that's a way for the gods to divide us, right? And what you have is the villain or antagonist, right? Like saying something that kind of rings true and makes sense. It puts doubt, into the heart of the hero, and they have to wrestle with those doubts. That's an important step, in maturing, and it's an important step in the journey of a hero. And so I think that watching which way goes Tyson, with that, because you're thinking the monster is just something that comes out and attacks you, right? And here's Tyson with his own story and his own autonomy, and it starts to those questions, those uncomfortable questions, and I think that's really useful.
I think, from the very beginning when we started this process, from season 1 many years ago, we knew we had the 5 books available to us, where even Rick, when he was writing them, wrote forward, right? But now we have all 5 of his books that we can pull from and look at a longer arc with the dream of continuing to get to make this show. And that's what's really exciting, to be able to pull these things in, like the Great Prophecy. It's such a big part of the later part of the story, but how do we introduce that now? The larger stakes, the larger mythology, the world and the complication that these kids are facing with the Great Prophecy. Who's the Great Prophecy about? All of those questions. We really didn't want to wait till the back end of the series. This is something that we could bring in to introduce now and raise the stakes as the story goes on, and talk about it throughout season 2, where we're directly connected to it, especially as the season goes on. I won't spoil too much, but then continue to talk about it in 3 and beyond. So it was just one of those things, and Craig really was like, we need to pull this in, and it was such a great idea to really set this up for going forward.
Right. Well, we start every season with me outlining what in the book I think needs to be the essential elements, the essential beats, and I'll sort of break down the book into 8 episodes. I'll share that with the writers' team. We'll discuss it a lot. I'll look at every, note, every outline, every draft of every script they send me, and that is for sure one of the things we're tracking. It's like, okay, where does this happen in the development of the story? What do we know about Luke as a character here, and what's informing his choices? Is he completely on Kronos' side, or does he still have doubts? What about Annabeth? Same question. And I think you see that in season 2 a lot. It's all about who's in the right here. Whose side would you be on if you had to choose? Because Luke's the quote-unquote villain, the antagonist, but he makes a really good argument. The gods are pretty bad. They're not great parents, they're not great rulers. But does that mean you go to the next step and form a revolution and overthrow them? Luke's answer right now is yes, but even he isn't 100%, I don't think. So yes, we are definitely tracking that, and it's something we look at every episode, every script. Yeah, it's bittersweet, I think, to see them confront each other. It hits a lot more potently, I think, in the TV show. because you get that actual eye contact between them in the very first episode, and that is not the way it was in the book, but it certainly works. It's powerful, and you get right away, they still have a grudging respect for each other. They are still, in a way, brothers, but there is this huge chasm between them, and it's not at all clear what direction things are going to go, and that's as it should be.
Yeah, and then there's Annabeth in the middle trying to figure out what's right, because both
Oh,
of them have
sure.
reasonable arguments.
Absolutely. And yeah, and the loyalties, the tangled loyalties, which is right in line with Greek mythology.
I mean, yeah, I actually like that because it's not specifically said, but it's definitely implied, you know. And I think in the books there is a particular character who is kind of his inside, gives him all the inside.
A few.
Yeah.
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 Several.
Yeah.
There are several.
You're always messing
Oh
with
yeah,
my
there are
people,
several.
dog.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TBD on who that could
You'll
be.
find out. Yeah, you'll find out
We shall
some actually
see.
later on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it can, but I don't think it's the way how she's using it. I think it's the way how people think of it. Like, for example, if people keep looking at her like this very smart person, like, well, even if they say I'm gonna die, you're smart enough to find a way how I can't die, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's not really the way of like, because she knows, like, she has enough wisdom to actually know what she can and cannot do. And I think sometimes people abuse that power of like, well, you're smart, you know everything. Like, literally, you know everything, and that's just not, she's not, like, perfect. She just has a lot of wisdom, and her mind just runs faster than what the average speed of what could be. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she's smart enough to know that people might.
Yeah, and other people who we're not going to name.
Yeah, she's smart enough to know that some people might judge her for, like, think her intelligence is too much.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's why she think it could be a burden because of how other people are taking it.
Right.